All right, so the keys to finding your desires and getting started. This is the very first part of the mini series that I created. I have tried to keep these really short and simple so that you can gain as much knowledge as needed, but also, not lose your interest and leave feeling overwhelmed. Okay, so this all starts within yourself, and I'm going to help walk you through a few steps that can help you unlock what your fullest potential is. So we're going to step into the full alignment and understand, develop, and take action. Okay, so getting started, just being fully aware of the things that you want to be doing and understanding how easy it is to tap into that resource. Who am I? So most of you know me or have some kind of connection with me, but just in case, my name is Candace and I'm here to support you as a mindset and business coach. Okay, I help women gain confidence to make those massive transformations in their mindset so they can create the business they desire. I will work with you to help you create the freedom to do the things that you really want to be doing. So before we get started, I really like for people to set the intention and kind of get in the mind frame of what do I want and anticipate from this training. So basically what that means is if you'll take the minute just to close your eyes, okay, and really focus in and ask yourself, what is it that I want to take from this training? What am I opening my mind to? A lot of times we're so rushed and we don't take just a few minutes to give your mind that nudge to open up and receive the information we need to hear. So just take a few minutes and really think about what you want to gain out of this training. The next step is just releasing. Often we confuse our purpose and our passion with the jobs that we have. Sometimes we're going to work in our purpose fully and it's going to be our job. And then sometimes our passion and purpose work through us just in everyday moments. So just kind of recognize to allow the release and the pressure of finding out exactly what you want to be doing, because so often we are over stressing this particular thing and there's no need to. You're here to open up and find clarity. So just allow the stress to be released. Now, the act of mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness is something that psychologists actually use to help people correlate the interconnections and the created connections we have with certain subjects. So you can actually use this practice yourself in a very positive way, but also a deeper learning level. So if you'll take a few minutes and just close your eyes, I want you to think of the words joy. What would bring you the most joy in your life? Peace. What is it that brings you the most peace when you're doing it? And then lastly, soul purpose. Now, if there is any resistance on any of these, that's okay. It's actually very, very natural to have an instant resistance because we've been so focused and conditioned to know and think we need to know the answers to these questions, when really it's just taking a few minutes to slow down and allow ourselves to process. Okay, so just take a step back, breathe, and allow the release, because you're going to find these answers when the time is right. So just allow your mind to stop overthinking, and really let's just start working through this. So first we're going to analyze our strengths. Okay, finding your purpose is an accumulation of all the things you've done in your life. So if you will sit down and just think about this, okay, take a few minutes to list out everything you've ever wanted to do. Sometimes we get so in the rush that we haven't even asked ourselves what we want to be doing, and we forget the things that we've wanted to do in the past. So I want you to list out everything you've ever wanted to do, whether this is something from childhood, something current, something you maybe thought of for 5 seconds and move forward. Just write it down, because there's a reason that you wanted to do it, and we're going to extract that information here pretty soon. So then I want you to ask yourself, what jobs have you held in the past? And this can be jobs that you applied for and didn't get. This can be jobs that you did or you do or did have. So list out everything. I want you to really get creative here within yourself and pull the information, because the more we are honest and open with ourselves, we're going to find our disappointments maybe that we had, or our excitements that we have. So the more you release and acknowledge that this is for you and that you're going to find what you want to be doing the moment that you allow and give yourself permission. Okay, so I want you to start listing out those things. The next thing is to list out the qualities and the skills that you obtain from these different jobs. Okay, because if you will analyze your strengths and really pull from the things that you're really good at already, it will help you develop the next stage in your life. Sometimes we're really in the rush to get to the next thing that we don't even take the time to acknowledge what we're really good at already. And you're able to use those tools in everything that you do. So let's kind of start thinking, if you need to pause this, please do so that you can get those answers and take your time. You know, sometimes people watch this all the way through, then go back through and do the steps. So whatever is most comfortable to you. So listing out your strengths, you know, I'm going to give you a few prompts here because I really want you to be diving into this. You know, are you great at time management? Are you really good at making connections? You know, some people are really great at networking and meeting people, making friends. You know, are you a creative person? Okay, so when you draw out these different factors of you, you know, really pull into the creativity if you're a creative. You know, what are you creative with? What are the little bitty steps that you're really great at, or the really big steps that you're great at? Okay, then maybe are you inspirational, motivational? Are you that person that everybody comes to when they need that inspiration or need advice, that kind of stuff? You know, are you organized? That's a huge quality to have, especially for a business. Like, you're going to need that. So really kind of think about these things. Are you a leader? You know, are you somebody that really has a great, you know, hand in helping people move forward? So I really want you to focus in on those steps that and those strengths that are within you so that you can really start to build up that momentum to believe in yourself. So we are the sum of all things, like all the things in our life. When we start to accept our life's journey as the building blocks, it becomes so clear as to why you're meant to do the things you want to do. Okay, our desires are those things that we already help others with, like we want to help them with. Our current abilities are all the things that we do really well already. And then our past experiences are the things that we've actually done. You know, the things that we've gone through, our life, you know, history and struggles and triumphs. Okay, and it all leads to our life purpose. I'm a firm believer that we go through our life and accumulate all these skills and, you know, experiences because we're meant to use them. So really tap into that and acknowledge, like, everything you've ever done is going to help you build what you want to build. So stepping outside of our comfort zone, this is kind of where it can get uncomfortable, right? So when we're doing things we've never done before, there's a lot going on inside, and I'm going to try to break that down in the next few slides. Okay, so when we are stepping into something new, it's a physical reaction in our body to hinder us from moving forward. But the way that manifests in reality is we say things like, I just need to wait until, right? How many times have you said that? I know I've said it, and I mean, we're all guilty of saying that. It's like we want this perfect moment, right? And we're just waiting until the next thing lines up just so great. And then think about it. You start to say, well, I don't know enough. You know, I don't have the resources, so I really can't start anyway. And then we say we don't have the time. Okay, we start clouding our minds with all these reasons to avoid knowing what we want to do because we're scared. You know, we keep telling people, oh, I don't know what I want to do. And we say it so repetitively that we actually affirm that to ourselves. So kind of think about that and ruminate on that for just a few minutes and really think about all these things that you've been telling yourself as a way to hinder you. Okay, and I'm going to help you feel better. You know, you're not to make you feel guilty here. This is a normal human process, okay? This starts happening in our bodies physically as a defense. So I'm going to help you ease into knowing that it's really not anything you were in control of, but now we're going to take control of it. So understanding the mind. And this is what I'm coming up to, okay? So once we can break things down and understand more about how our mind functions and works and how it's really protecting us. I'm not going to get too sciencey in here, but I'm trying to outline these things so that you can really make those connections, make yourself feel a little bit at ease, okay? Because this is just your mind and body working together to keep you safe. Imposter syndrome is a diagnosed disorder and condition that 80% of people actually report having at some point in their life, okay? And so it's really common. We all, at some point, I'm going to just say, I bet you it's more like 100% because I talk to so many women all the time, and this is a huge factor. It's a huge thing for me too, okay? So it's defined as something that is internalized as this persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud, whether it means you don't know enough, you haven't been doing it long, or maybe you're just still new. Okay, so the reason why this sets in is because there's somebody that's about 5 steps ahead of you that's doing it really, really awesome, or maybe even a year ahead of you. And they're just going at it gung-ho all the way, like they've been doing it though. Okay, they've been doing it for a while, and we allow that to hinder ourselves and start to create that lack of confidence. Okay, and it's really important to identify that this happens right before we're about to do something super big in our lives. So I want you to stop that from happening in your own life by recognizing when it's starting. Okay, so when you have these symptoms of extreme lack of self-confidence, you start doubting your achievements and your abilities and your accomplishments, right? You might even talk down what you do. You might say, oh, well, I just kind of do this thing, or I have this little bitty business that I'm doing. You're starting to already precondition yourself to not be as good as what you know that you are. Okay, whenever we say, I want to do this, oh, don't laugh, but this is what I want to do, we're not even giving the other person the chance to credit us and say, oh my gosh, you're amazing at that. Like, I can totally see you doing this, right? We are so used to making ourselves feel inadequate, and that's why we have to stop this before it ever starts really, snowballing into the effect of making you not take action. So when does this start to happen? A lot of times it's when we're doing something absolutely, completely new to our mind, our body, and our soul, okay, because we don't know that outcome, okay? It'll start happening right before you launch a business, maybe before you run that 5K, whenever you start getting on your very first plane ride, whatever the moment is for you, right? These are the moments right before you're doing something you've never done that will start to make this, pop up into your life. Think about this too. The moment right before you're about to tell somebody, it like hits you really, really hard. So just kind of know that when it's starting to happen, it's usually something you're about to up-level your life on. So you really need to take hold and just push through it. Now, the science behind why this happens is because we're doing it for the very first time, and it's actually a signal of stress for our body. You might even gain weight from this, okay? Because it's cortisol going off, and it's the fight or flight response, okay? It's adrenaline, all these different things going into action, shutting off your limbic system, saying, okay, we can't do this because we don't know what to anticipate. We don't have concrete evidence that this is going to be successful, so we better not do this. So, and it's crazy, but it's so true how our brains do this. And so when you know when and why it's happening, it's easy to shift your mindset before it starts to set in and actually makes, everything stall. And I'm going to repeat that a lot because it happens so often, and people stop doing the things that they want to do because they fear that they're not going to be successful when they haven't barely just gotten started. So I'm going to break this down just a little bit more just so you can kind of see this. Sometimes it's really good to see a visual. These are the percentages of our mind that's used when we make decisions. Okay, so the conscious mind is at 10%. The pre-conscious or subconscious mind is at 50 to 60%. And unconscious mind is 30 to 40. Now, what does all this mean, right? Okay, so the conscious mind is everything that's right here, right now. And that's actually the least because it's basically like your eyesight, okay? So you're pulling in this information, but you're really processing it on the other deeper levels. And so knowing that in advance is just to know, you're taking in this information, then you're preconscious and subconscious mind and unconscious mind are working through to process to tell you, oh, that's a stoplight, because we've been told from day one it's a stoplight. Okay, now our subconscious mind is our quick memory recall. It's your automatics, your habits, the things that you've created over a lifetime. And so just kind of seeing 50% of your decisions are made because they're automatic, and they're just that automatic in your brain. Okay, unconscious mind is your long-term memory and your repressed moments. So these are going to be the things that maybe you were told in childhood, or you've been told at a job, or somebody that you really had a whole lot of respect for. So kind of just know that your brain is functioning at these different levels because of a lifetime of conditioning. And so when we're trying to overcome these things, knowing where it starts and knowing how to, extract that belief and move it into a new belief system, it's a lot easier than we give ourselves credit for. But we have to recognize why we think the way we do so that we can improve it and make it that next level of goodness, so we can do the things we want to do, so we can push past when it's hard. So let me kind of break this down a little bit more. So our conscious mind is going to take in everything that's around us, right? And I already kind of said this. It's just based on prior knowledge. So when we're able to retrain the mind over time, we're actually able to change those automatic thoughts. You've been holding yourself back from jumping off the couch because you were told years ago, don't do that. So think about that. Those things really do affect us later on down the line. So it's really great to go back, do a little research, take time to do meditation, whatever is comfortable to you, to understand yourself, just that next level of clarity. Now, because you can do this, okay, I'm telling you all these things because you can do this. I want you to make sure that you know that your mind sets its own intentions to do things once you tell it to. It all starts with affirming to yourself and really believing in yourself, because you do have this. Like, you have this ability to do anything. And I'm going to show you how to go from not believing in yourself to taking action and fully going all in. So we build a new automatic. Okay, so the more you train your brain, the better your belief, is developed. Your competency is developed through practice. There's actually a whole psychological loop called the competency, confidence loop. Okay, so I'm going to try to say that again. So you're basically, the more you practice doing what you do, the better you become at it. So therefore, the more, confident you become in your abilities. So that's an easy way to say it, right? Now, you have to find where that thought pattern started in the first place, and then we create the new connection point and release the old thought. Think of your mind like a teeter-totter. When you take away something, it needs a replacement so that it can function and actually produce outcomes that are more comfortable for it. We're actually going to create a whole neural pathway that is changing the whole trajectory of what we think. So just a little bit of science. And like I said, I'm not trying to overload you with that, but it's actually really interesting. So if you have more questions about that part, definitely get with me and I will give you some resources. So the ways that we do this are through journaling, affirmations, reading books, taking action. Working with a coach will really help you on this, because it's a lot easier for somebody to come in from the outside and see where your insecurities are, kind of help guide you through how to navigate to the next spot. So don't ever feel like you shouldn't reach out to somebody, because you don't have to do this alone. Like, we've done the studies, we've done the research, and we want to help you. So let's head on. Writing out your success. What it looks like is basically journal prompts are a great way to promote clarity or confidence. All these different techniques are just tools that you can use and have in your belt. So, think in your mind, what can I let go of? Like today, what could I clear out the space for so I can have this like new thought and new programming and all this stuff? If you sit down and you write out everything you're feeling and be honest with yourself, you can release it in that moment because you've actually been able to express it. And maybe you're a verbal person. So talk into your phone, do a voice recording, do a voice, little memo or something. If you really need to feel like you need to voice yourself, do it so that you can get that clarity, let go of those thoughts, and really start to infiltrate in new thought patterns. So the next thing you can do is really simple, okay? It's asking yourself what you want. I feel like a lot of times we don't sit down and actually think about what we want. Like, what is our vision of a good life? If we were to sit down, is it going to be a house? Is it going to be a future car? Is it a future spouse or having children? What is it in your life that's important to you? If you ask yourself and take that time to just close your eyes and really release the pressure of not knowing, first of all, but also allowing the answers to come in. Once you know what you want, and this is something that I'm going to teach you here in a minute, if you allow yourself to believe it and you train it in a certain way, your mind will start picking up those signals. Okay, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. So the next thing, what are you excited for? Like, what do you get up and you could talk about until you go to sleep at night, right? Like, there's some subject that you are just amazing at and you love telling people about it. I know for me, I get so excited about mindset, talking about the science, really helping people gain clarity and things like that. And I could talk about that literally all day long. I don't ever have a problem talking about it. And that's the thing, you have that too. And so you just need to write down, what is it that gets you excited? Is it your nutrition? Is it your dog? Is it, these people in your life that you've been working with? What is it that you are super excited about? And take time to just write that out. When we acknowledge our strengths like we did earlier, and we really start to boost that confidence within ourselves, then we start taking on new tasks, whether we realize it or not. It's all your mind. How you are emotionally feeling is everything. Creating that energy and giving yourself that next level energy is so important when you're trying to do something new. So hopefully this will boost that confidence to know you have something within you that you're really great at sharing. So don't be afraid, share that. So the power of your words, everything we say affects our life. A lot of times we are affirming to ourselves different aspects of who we are. So we will have it in normal conversations with friends, like at work, maybe even our boss. Depends on who we're talking to, but we can affirm over and over and over we are these negative things, or we can affirm we are these positive things. When you take a whole day, take a whole day and either be in silence, which is really awkward. I get it. I gotcha. I did it for one day and it is very eye-opening though, but either be in silence or pay attention. Just pay attention to the words that you're saying, because I guarantee you, you're saying things without recognizing it. Like, I'm so tired. I, needed to get more sleep, right? You might say that to every single person that day. So you're going to have a crappy day because you feel like you're too tired to get work done. Right? We don't want to feel like that. We'd rather say, you know what? I didn't get enough sleep, but man, I feel so great in the sunshine, or whatever the case is for you. So really think about the words that you're saying out loud and pay attention. I guarantee once you start paying attention to yourself, you'll start paying attention to other people. And it's really interesting how we all have these little things that we say about ourselves over and over and over. And I guarantee if you start listening, you might even help somebody else and be like, oh my gosh, no, you're not. Listen to yourself. Be more positive. So there's a little insight for you. Start doing that, and I guarantee it'll change your life. So taking one phrase, right, and applying it several times throughout the day is similar to affirmations, right? Affirmations, mantras, whatever you choose to call it, right? But it's scientifically proven, okay, to create a new neural pathway, okay? That's a new thought pattern. It takes thousands of hours. I'm not saying one day is going to do it for you, but if over time you continue to feel, act, and think this way, you're going to create that new pathway and your old one disappears. And it's very, very strong. I'll tell you my personal story if you want to know it. So just ask me, but I'm telling you, it really works. So the way we do this is 10 to 15 minutes right before we go to sleep. That's the most important time for our brain to process things. Like, you probably didn't know this, but back in high school or whatever, you were studying for a test and you did it right before you went to sleep, called cramming, right? The reason why it actually worked is because your brain goes and ruminates over those things like over 10 times more than your whole entire day of processing. So if you're trying to learn a new language, do something new that you've never done before, like the sciences, do it 10 to 15 minutes before you go to bed, and you're more than likely to remember and process that particular topic. So that is a huge, huge key in making that successful. So a few clarity affirmations that I've written out for you, and I will include this on the worksheet, so don't feel like you have to rush to write these all out. I'm huge on affirmations. Obviously, I get it, we're busy, but if you take and just do 3 at a time and make it like a month-long process, it'll happen over time for you. So, I am enough. That is a big one. Okay, that one speaks volumes because so often we feel inadequate. And we not only feel it, but we say it to other people. So instead of saying that, we're changing everything. Okay, we're going to start saying, I am enough, or I know enough, or I'm really confident in my knowledge. Okay, things like that. I have clarity over the desires of my life. If you can claim that out loud, tell yourself before you go to sleep, you'll wake up knowing exactly what you want to do. It could be as simple as a Facebook ad that pops up that you never would have paid attention to, or even on the side of the Google bar, where you have all those ads and you just happen to see this particular topic that you've been interested in. You were trying to gain clarity and it's right there. These things happen because our brains are paying attention to the signs. And it is, again, it's all the science behind it that it just opens up the possibility for us to take in that information. So then you can say, I am ready to receive the amazing things that life has to offer me. I give myself permission. This is a big one. I feel like we don't often give ourselves permission to do the things we want to because we've been told we are not able, or it's selfish, or all these things. So we're changing all of that again, and we're giving ourselves permission to be who we want to be. Okay, I am intelligent, I'm wise, I know these things, like all these different things that we can say to ourselves to really encourage that positive creativity flow. Okay, I want you to leave here feeling positive and uplifted and just ready to tackle the day and do anything you possibly want to. When you fill yourself with that much excitement, enthusiasm, motivation, you will go run a marathon even if you've never ever stepped foot on a track field or wherever the playing field is. Okay, so this is all really good for you, and I hope that you will take action on this. So what to expect from the next few courses throughout this series. Okay, I wanted to break this down. I know that was super high energy and I'm so excited. I actually re-recorded this because I wanted to emphasize a few areas even better. So this series is going to have an outline of how to define what your social media presence. Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to develop values and branding and take it to the next level of branding. So it's not just fonts and all that fun stuff. And then we're going to create that honest connection. From there, we're going to learn how to actually take everything we've learned and put it into some form of paid course or group coaching or, some type of thing like that. Now, if you are a product-based business, just connect with me and I will do something separate for you because I still want you to know that you can still educate people on your product and earn income from doing that too. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and I want you to take this fire and really put it into action and know that you have amazing value. You have created so much value that people want it and they're ready for it. So go out and do the things that you know you're meant to do.